And our next question we're just going to touch on very briefly, because jurisdiction is always a complicated issue and there's no way we can really adequately cover that here. But what jurisdictions might be involved in a case, and what options might victims have if more than one jurisdiction could potentially move a criminal investigation and proceeding forward?
So as I touched on, sometimes it's a question that a victim would prefer to have the civilians or the military have jurisdiction. And the whole reason that that's even a question is because most of the time, multiple entities have jurisdiction. So for all the attorneys or those who listen to this is a Civil Procedure 101, and actually would have loved these kind of examples when I was taking civil procedure because it's much more interesting. And so jurisdiction is a matter of where did the crime occur? So you're looking at the physical location and who is alleged to have committed the crime based off of who has jurisdiction over them. So you hear of things like sovereign immunity for somebody who is a representative in a country on behalf of another country, not being subject to the jurisdiction, even if that location would be granting jurisdiction. Well, in the military, a service member is given, when we sign things away, the military has jurisdiction over a member. So an active duty member who is on Title 10 orders is subject to military jurisdiction anywhere, I'd say even in the universe, now that we have Space Force, anywhere, at all times and all places. Now, where they are physically standing when they commit the crime will determine who else may have jurisdiction. So if they are standing out on a flight line, that is typically going to end up being exclusive federal jurisdiction, since most of the places that we park these kind of planes are exclusive federal jurisdiction. And so because the federal government has jurisdiction, the military law enforcement will investigate. They're not going to have the FBI investigate that because we have jurisdiction over the person and the location. Now, when you're looking at an actual jurisdiction map of a military installation, a lot of folks would assume that everything inside the gate is military and exclusive federal jurisdiction. No. A lot of times things well outside the gate are also part of federal jurisdiction, but a lot of things inside the gate are not. And you will have these weird little bubbles of state jurisdiction, city jurisdiction, county jurisdiction. And what I really love is the cross-hatched coloring that we'll do because of concurrent jurisdiction, where you'll have both county and federal jurisdiction at the same time. So this comes into play most often when we have a civilian, a non-military member perpetrator committing a crime, say, on a military installation, and we're looking at the map to go, okay, so this sexual assault, domestic violence case, sadly too often it's both happening together, happened on concurrent jurisdiction with the federal government and with the county. So who's actually going to prosecute? If that was a military member, they both would have jurisdiction. If it is a civilian, the military does not have jurisdiction, who's the reported perpetrator, and the county is going to prosecute. And this is another reason why it's nice to have an attorney involved, because not only can we help you unpack who could prosecute the case, which are sometimes things that a victim wants to weigh before they go unrestricted, but also when there's multiple, as we call sovereigns, who could prosecute, the city, the county, or the federal government, it may change. Some victims will say that they would much prefer that the military take jurisdiction on the case and prosecute the case, particularly if the case is between two military members. And so there are types of crimes that we could charge it under in the military where they take into consideration those aggravators of the rank difference, while to the civilian sector, they may say, well, we see this as just two consenting adults. And the military says, no, we see a military recruit and a military recruiter. And that recruiter should never, ever have been hitting on the recruitee or to somebody who's of a different rank. So because of these differences, attorneys can help with it. And because of these differences, a case might not be prosecuted by who someone initially thinks. And it can get a little strange. And when I was just with the base legal office, it was not uncommon to have civilian attorneys call from just a bar referral and say, hey, can you help me figure out who might have jurisdiction on something? Because this is legal information. And just a colleague to colleague as attorneys, we're happy to help. So again, just ask.